Greetings, everyone, and welcome to SpaceWeek Live for Sunday, February 7th, 2021. So I wanted to remind myself to remind y'all about questions. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask them in the chat, but make sure to tag my name, Rawspace, so that we will notice them, and then I can get around to answering the questions at the end. Thank you very much. So, last week, if we switch over to here. Last week we had the second spacewalk of the year, U.S. spacewalk number 70, consisting of ISS upgrades. Astronauts Mike Hopkins and Victor Glover were the spacewalkers, same as the previous spacewalk. Overall, this was the 234th ISS spacewalk. The very first one was just over 22 years ago, in December 1998. They, among other things, they installed a new lithium-ion battery on the P4 truss, which was the last battery in, look at him there on the end of the robotic arm. That's neat. Hello, Bennu, what are you doing there? That's, ooh, that's scary. How did Bennu get in there? I don't even know. Huh. Okay, well, I'm sorry for Bennu. Wait a minute. Oh. Oh my gosh. That's Bennu Cam from the stream. I'm replaying the stream, and that was Bennu Cam during the stream. I was like, wait a minute. Bennu's lying down. How can he be sitting up? God, that was confusing. Okay. So there you go. I just got very confused. Yeah, so that was the very last battery needed to be replaced on the ISS. They've been replacing batteries for a couple of years now, and that was the very last one because one of the battery replacements in April 2019 blew a fuse and needed replacement. So this was the very last upgraded battery. So they also upgraded the high-definition video and camera gear on the ISS exterior and the Kibo robotic arm. And I actually don't know much about the Kibo robotic arm. I'll have to look into that. They also removed H fixtures on the P4 truss in preparation for installation of upgrades to the solar arrays. Also on Monday, last Monday, China's iSpace attempted a launch of their Hyperbola 1 rocket. not hyperbole, but hyperbola, which experienced a failure during ascent and did not make it to orbit. All we have really is a picture of that and some brief video of a smoke trail. Then on Tuesday, SpaceX successfully launched the, oh wait, no, this was not the successful, SN9, right, the much anticipated SN9. So here we have two Starship test articles sitting on their launch stands. SN9 on the left and SN10 on the right in this view. And yeah, well, let's check it out real quick, and I'll provide some commentary. So there we see the three Raptor engines firing as planned. Most of the flight looked pretty nominal. Sorry about the music earlier. When I'm live presenting and VJing, things get a little mixed up. So here, let's speed this up a bit. Actually, let's skip forward. So the ascent looked pretty good. And then they cut out one engine, and they lost the cameras on the internal skirt cam or whatever, the engine view at the bottom of the rocket. So we didn't get to see that detail this time around as we did with SN8. But so we still got two engines firing, and the venting you see is normal. So here, one engine at the very apex of the flight, then they begin their belly flop maneuver where they kick it over and engage the aerodynamic control flaps, canards and winglets. Belly flop looked good. Oh, here we get a boot. All right, so the problem came at the end, where what you'll see is it. Now I'm not sure exactly what their timing was intended to be with the how early they were supposed to fire, but it seemed like it fired awfully late, and it also overcompensated, which we'll see in very dramatic fashion here. I'll shut up so you can hear it too.
One engine for the landing burn.
So the RUD heard around the world. Let's take a slower look at that. Play it at half speed. So here we see we've got two engines. Okay, one of them flames out. I think they were supposed to have two. They lost one. And then when it lands at a crazy angle, like 40 degrees or something. Now I don't know if that was exclusively the due to them only having one engine firing instead of two, but yeah. So not what we wanted. Most of the flight looked good though, and of course this is a test flight, as John Insprucker informed us after the explosion. So, yeah, hopefully the FAA doesn't consider this another violation, thus potentially delaying a future SN10 flight, but we shall see. Of course, we, the public, are not privy to SpaceX's internal data and information about their, the results of their test. But, we know that it mostly did okay. It's mainly the landing that's the challenge. The ascent, the pitch over, the belly flop, and everything up to the kick, to the flip at the end, seems to be consistent between the two SN flights that we've had. The two high altitude flights that we've had, I should say. So that was Tuesday. Then on Thursday, better news for SpaceX. They had a successful launch of Starlink 18. Let's check that out.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
Good liftoff there. Successful landing of the booster, no issues. Now with these last bunch of, let's see, where's the, okay, here we go. Let's look at the landing.
See the lights beginning to illuminate the platform and the waters around.
Stage 2 is entered terminal.
Stage 1, landing leg deploy.
Okay, let's see if we're able to stick this landing. Looks pretty good.
And they stuck it. So, yeah. The last bunch of Starlink launches have involved some long coast times. Like if you recall in the beginning, they would launch and then deploy very soon thereafter. But the last few Starlink launches they've done, I guess, I don't know if they're going to higher altitudes. I could look at the summaries of Starlink launches and see what their orbital inclinations and altitudes were. But the last few have involved some long coast times of sometimes 15, 30, 60 minutes even. And then on Thursday, nope, that was Thursday. Also on Thursday, China launched a Long March 3B with their classified TJSW-6 satellite, also called the Tongxin Jishu Xi'an Weixing, which is what TJSW stands for. Way to go, China. So that was it for launches last week. Let's see. So, coming up this week, we still got Bennu? Awesome. Coming up this week, there is only one launch. And let me pull up my... Where are you? There you are. There's only one launch. On Friday, February 12th at 12:25 a.m. Eastern, 5:25 a.m. GMT, another Falcon 9 will launch Starlink 19. Now, you may have, if you were keeping track, you may have wondered what happened to Starlink 17, because we went from 16 to 18 and now 19. Well, Starlink 17 is tentatively, well, it was actually scheduled for the same day, for like early in the morning of when Starlink 18 launched, but it was delayed so that they could complete, quote unquote, so they could complete some additional checks. And it was delayed for about 4 successive days, and then again it was delayed from today. They were going to launch it. And the tentative date is now set at next Sunday, February 14th. Yeah, hopefully that'll be firmed up, and we'll have confirmation of that from SpaceX by next week's SpaceWeek episode. Chris V says, didn't that Chinese rocket RUD, the Long March 3B? Not that I'm aware of. I didn't see a reference to that, but I didn't look too deeply. The launch looked successful, but now the other one, the Hyperbola, did RUD. It had a trajectory failure on ascent. You could see it breaking up in that photo that I showed you. Now, let's see. So yes, so we had Starlink 16, then 18, 19, and presumably then 17, which means that for a very brief period of time, the Starlink mission number matches the launch number, at least the full launch number. So normally they launch about 60 satellites with every full Starlink launch, although they did squeeze 10 Starlinks onto their rideshare launch a few weeks ago. Excuse me. So Starlink 18 and 19 will be the 18th and 19th full Starlink launches, and 17th will then be the 20th. The numbers are getting confusing, but we'll try to keep it straight for you. There were also 2 more spacewalks planned, one tomorrow and another next week, but both of those have been removed from NASA's broadcast schedule. So those are still on the books, so we'll get to see Kate Tice and my brain, the Japanese astronaut, pardon me for forgetting his name. Any other time I could tell you. Make some additional enhancements to the station. They're going to work on the solar panels, I think, but those are not yet on the calendar. Then next week is a big one. The Perseverance rover will land on Mars. We've been waiting for this one since, what was it, May, that all the Mars missions launched. And so next week, Percy and Ingy, whatever his nickname is, will be landing on Mars. More about that in next week's episode. I just wanted to put it on your radar. Let's see. New members. We would like to thank our new... so we had a bit of a slow period in memberships, but we got some new members recently, and we would like to extend a hearty welcome and thanks to them. Rawthling's Thomas Hansson, Halil Basmacı, Nick Sine, Grace Ryan, and RacerX. Also, thank you, RacerX, for the Discord boost. I'll also link Discord. Discord's a great place for sort of a more persistent chat than the live chats. You can have conversations, post memes, post photos, voice chat if you wish. So come visit us on Discord. Also, big thanks to new member and Rawstronaut Charles Fullmer. Gotta get him in there. So, questions. Let me put this text up. There we go. Looking at your questions. All right. So, just FYI, for the sake of continuity or for flow, I'll only be reading questions that have my name tagged because they are highlighted for me. Latanya Smithy tells me to wake up. Do I seem sleepy? Because I am. But let's see. Oh, I tagged my own name. Nightbot tagged me. Okay. Chris V, why don't you have Perseverance on your schedule? Because I'm a slacker. I didn't put Perseverance on the calendar yet because I just haven't composed the event description yet. But I could have done so months ago, but I haven't yet. I'll get it up there later today. Mark Desire, are you going to live stream the arrival of Perseverance on Mars? Absolutely. I'll be providing just, like with any launch or broadcast space event, I'll be providing a, the NASA coverage, but interjecting my own, or rather probably preceding it with my own commentary, summary, and Q&A. I may need to, I know that they're going to have segments of cutscenes with copyrighted music, and I'm going to have to dub over those, and apologies in advance for that. People are going to gripe, but the copyright and YouTube, they are not good bedfellows. I think that's an antiquated term, but whatever. Maria, okay, what exactly happened with Starlink 17? I already explained that. They were doing, well, actually, I didn't exactly explain it. So the delay with Starlink 17 was, the stated reason was that they were performing additional checks. So they encountered some issue with either the rocket or the payload or the ground equipment, unspecified issue, and they, were taking a while to check that out. So, basically, they only use two launch pads for Starlink. They use the launch pad at Cape Canaveral, and they use the Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy. So, so they can only have two Falcon 9s out there ready to go at any given time. And so Starlink 17 just got pushed out past 18 and 19. Let's see. Whoop. Maria Kutujan, good afternoon to you as well. Raymond Rosas. Raw Space, I know this sounds naive as I'm not an engineer. Is it possible they would need a higher apogee in order to stick that landing? Nope. They, if you recall, SN8 ascended to 12.5 kilometers, but SN9 only ascended to 10. Now, I don't know for sure if that was in response to the FAA situation, because SN9 was delayed by a little bit, a few days, a week and a half or so, while they figured out, while they worked out a situation where the FAA was investigating alleged flight violations by the SN8 launch. But the belly flop, they could belly flop from 5 kilometers or from 20 kilometers. The apogee of the flight really isn't relevant to the landing, because the descent is controlled, And what's critical to the landing, though, is getting the flip maneuver timing and attitude correct. You've got to be vertical, and you've got to be vertical and going almost 0 miles per hour when you make contact with the ground, or you're gonna crunch. If you're canted, because it landed at an angle like that, and so there was no way, even if it had landed gently, there was no way it was going to survive. It would have tipped over and blown up anyway. Yeah. So, Paulo Roberto Araujo, greetings from North Carolina. Glad to see you're visiting from Brazil. MVM Motovlog Music. Raw Space, will you be live screaming the UAE and the China Mars landings? Well, I don't generally do a lot of screaming unless I'm playing GTA, but I will be live streaming everything that has a broadcast that I am aware of. So if the UAE's Hope Mars lander, or Hope Mars mission, that's not a lander, that's an orbiter, isn't it? Pardon me if I'm getting that wrong, but if there is a broadcast, then I will attempt to bring it to you. And China, I don't know. I mean, there was a live stream of the launch of the Chinese Mars mission, but normally there's not live coverage of Chinese space endeavors. So I don't know, because all you're going to see during the landing is basically mission control and their response to the data they receive some minutes after the thing has either landed or crashed. Because the landing process on Mars has to be completely automated because there are a few minutes of light travel time, between the two planets. So the craft has to land itself and then transmit back home that it was successful, or crash, in which case we'll hear silence. But I'll bring you what I can. But I do need to check the dates on the UAE and the China Tianwen-1 Mars landings, or Mars orbital insertions, whatever. Tig Rayhoff, anything about the space tests that were returned on Dragon returning? So if you recall, fairly recently, the first of the Dragon 2 cargo Dragon variants returned to Earth successfully. So previously the cargo Dragon was Dragon 1, but recently the first Dragon 2 cargo Dragon returned, which is the same spacecraft frame basically as Crew Dragon. It has the same autonomous docking capability and the same guts basically. And I do not know the result of the payload there, the scientific research tests and whatnot that were on board. So, Mark Desert, does Bennu dream about mice? Probably, because he has a little toy mouse that he likes to terrorize. He loves carrying the thing around in his mouth and meowing. I think it's so adorable the way cats meow when they're excited about something they're carrying in their mouth. So they meow around the item. Sam Valashek, Raw Space, what are your predictions for SN10 this week? Possibly a static fire. There are scheduled road closures for a majority of the week. Well, let's take a look, shall we? So here we have the Cameron County, Texas road closure notifications. This is the 7th. We've got road closures scheduled for tomorrow, for Wednesday, with secondary dates of Thursday and Friday. That's so interesting. 2 primaries and then 2 secondaries. If we look at the TFRs, tfr.faa.gov, then we go to space operations, and then we sort by wow, we're looking light on TFRs. We have, okay, so this second one here, which you can't see the mouse cursor, but you can, here, I'll highlight it. The second one here is the, what is it, 1,800 feet TFR, which covers all ground operation. I think it's because they have tanks full of explosive materials that requires there to be basically a constant TFR up to 1,800 feet, so that you can't get, or maybe it's a security thing, I don't know, but very likely because there are dangerous chemicals and the methane and the oxygen in those tanks, which if they blew up would cause a sort of danger in the low altitude zone. Now we also have this February 8th and 9th. That's tomorrow and Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday. And this one is up to 7,200 feet MSL. So according to the TFRs, I would say we're looking at a static fire on Monday or Tuesday. So, yeah. Now, it's funny that, like, the best window we have into what SpaceX plans to do in Boca Chica is from federal aviation flight restriction postings. It's kind of weird, but that's the nature of the beast. Internal development process. They don't publish their now they do give warnings to local residents to evacuate and things like that whenever they're going to be performing a hazardous operation. But yeah. So good question, Sam. Thanks for prompting that. Tigray Huff. Rawspace, might you know why Space Force is trying to make bases away from the normal NASA space launch sites? Secrecy? I don't know anything about Space Force base locations. I would expect, like you say, make bases. I would expect, like the normal thing, because we have an abundance of derelict military facilities around the country. I would be surprised if they were building like new bases. I would expect them to repurpose existing facilities. But who knows? Maybe they are building a new base. That would be really expensive. But if they are, and if they're doing it far away from the spaceports, I'm not sure why. I mean, there are lots of, top secret operations that happen around the spaceports. I mean, Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, now Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, is a military facility, and it has, classified materials and classified operations on it, just like any military facility. But yeah, no, that's an interesting question. I'm curious about it myself. Space Kitten, good to see you here. Bennu looks peaceful sleeping. Yeah, I imagine he is pretty peaceful when he's asleep. He's a bit of a terror when he's awake, but that's okay. Has Bennu ever seen a mouse? We have a hamster, but he doesn't, we don't let him out running around, I mean, if we let the I'd be worried that the cat would go after the hamster, so we definitely don't let the hamster just run around the room. And the hamster, for some reason, this hamster doesn't like to use his exercise ball, so we put him in the ball and he just kind of sits there preening himself. Maria Kutajan, congrats as well for 93K subscribers. Thank you very much, and thank you to the approximately 93,000 of you who have subscribed thus far. Hopefully we can make that 94K soon. Let's see. Mad Matt. Is Elon leaving California? Your thoughts? I heard that Elon is relocating from California to Texas. I mean, Elon he's a Elon's a very squeaky wheel. I mean, you know, there are lots of billionaires in the world, there are lots of entrepreneurs in the world, but nobody quite like Elon. And he's very vocal and shoots from the hip, oftentimes, to the horror of the people who have to clean up after him or whatever. But you know, I think that Elon has some issues with the regulatory environment in California, and you know, Texas is all about freedom, right? So I think Elon is quite possibly considering a personal relocation to a more amenable environment to his preferences. But I mean, SpaceX is still going to be based in California. They have way too much invested in their facilities to relocate the whole company. Tesla is still going to be based in California. You know, I mean, it would be hugely cost prohibitive to, you know, to relocate all that. So, Microbyte saying that Huntsville, Alabama might be getting the which headquarters? Space Force headquarters? That would make sense because the U.S. Space and Rocket Center is in Huntsville, Alabama. So, yeah. So I think that will wrap it up for this week. We managed to pull it off. I wasn't sure if I would be ready in time, and I'm not sure that I was, but we made it through. So thank you all for coming. Keep it raw. I'm glad that Bennu paid us a visit, even though he's just chilling right now. Hey, Bennu. Hey, buddy. He's like, why did you touch me? Why did you touch me? Stop touching me. All right. Take care. See you next week, and peace out.